Yo!
Hello!
Kanesh! Hi!
Yay!
Wow, nice, huh? You got your coffee there?
Yes, thank
Mine
God
over
there's
here, mine over
coffee.
here.
Very, very important, especially for a late night chat.
Yes.
Chat, that's right.
Yes.
Yeah. Actually, right, usually our program is on like what, Thursday night?
Yes, Thursday night.
I panic this week, like nothing is happening.
Sorry
And,
lah, Kanesh, because Thursday night was Hari Raya day 1, you know. So I had to go and eat my lemang, my lemang.
Nice. Yeah, wow.
Yes.
That's right. Really makes me miss going to bazaars and having rendang and stuff.
Yeah, we do miss that, huh?
Yes, but really panic until organizers say it's okay. We'll do it on Sunday. Like, okay.
Actually, not too bad, the Sunday feel, the vibe is quite nice. Sunday feel a bit relaxed, chillax a bit.
Is that a clue to what's gonna happen next?
I don't know. Our viewers will have to tell us whether Sunday night works better for them or Thursday night works better for them. We are always open to listen, right? Always open to listen. That's right. Make fingers. Why not?
So let us know if you prefer to meet during this time on Sunday because it's more chill, it's after dinner time, rather than a Thursday where you need to think about exams and assignments and all that. Yes. Okay, so what's today about? Recently we've been talking about, I've been hearing a lot and reading a lot about this viral hashtag that's going all over the place. And it says, make school a safer place, right?
Yeah.
So, Pastor Andy, what's this whole thing about? Yeah.
You know now, okay. First of all, ex-teens, we are passionate about teenagers. Yeah. That's why we exist. We exist for the young people, for teenagers especially, And when things like schools are mentioned, teens are mentioned, young people are mentioned, it always perks our interest. And so recently, of course, this hashtag has been all over social media, make school a safer place, which is something we really resonate with because we work with a lot of young people from school. But I believe from what I've read, how this thing came about was there was a girl, 17-year-old girl called Ain, who, like many teenagers, have a TikTok account, right? Do you have a TikTok account, Kanesh? You started one and deleted it, right?
I opened one and then I saw the complicated user interface. Delete.
I think nobody want to see you dance anyway. So anyway, Ain, which is a Malaysian girl, 17 years old, she didn't do a dance. She actually basically used the TikTok platform to voice out, and she shared a story on her TikTok about how a teacher in a school, a male teacher, made jokes about rape.
Okay.
And I don't know whether we're being too specific or not, but he's basically saying, it's very inappropriate, okay? He joked about how, if you're going to rape someone, make sure you rate them, make sure you rate someone who's above 18 years old.
Wow.
As if that's okay. And obviously, Ain didn't take it well, and she took it to her TikTok and called out the whole incident.
Okay.
And it garnered a lot of attention, went all the way to overseas. And I think she started the hashtag, school should be a safe space. It shouldn't be, we shouldn't go to school feeling like threatened and feeling like so unsafe.
Yes.
So she just wanted to speak out. And that's how the whole hashtag came about, make school a safer place. And that really resonates with us. Because we work with so many young people, we want school to be a safe place.
That's right.
Them,
right,
Kanesh? Yep.
Yes. Especially that you have a kid, right? And you want Zion and Zara to both be in a safe school, right?
Hey, Kanesh, can I be very honest?
Yes.
I grew up in a government school system, Sekolah Menengah Kebangsaan, SMK.
Yes.
And you can ask all my friends, ask anyone who's spoken to me, I've always supported government school. I told myself one day I will get married, I'll have 11 kids. Okay, first of all, I'm going to form a football team first. After that, I want to send all of them to government school. Okay. But Kanesh, I've got to be honest. I really got to be honest. And this is not just pure criticism or anything. I'm really afraid at the moment. To send my own kids to government school. Because it's just not the same anymore. All right. And I guess, in a way, that's why we're having the conversation tonight.
Correct.
There's many aspects to look at it from. Tonight, we're going to look at it from the aspect of bully, harassment, and things like that.
Yes.
But I feel sad about myself, that I used to be like a pro government school, like everybody must go through government school, what's private school, what's all this home school, right? But I've got to be honest, I'm not so sure at the moment. Because that's why I think we got to talk about how to make schools a safer place. And of course, when you say school, we include all schools. It's not just government schools, but
it's
private
not just
schools,
government school. That's right.
Homeschool centers.
Even tuition classes and all that, right?
Classes.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And I got my if later on, if there is an opportunity for me to share my tuition story about a tuition teacher I had,
yes,
I will.
Make tuition a safer place too.
I might anonymously share my story on the Instagram page tonight. Yes, I'm serious. I'm laughing now, but now I think about it, right? I'm like, wait a minute.
Yes.
What's going on?
You'll probably be the oldest person who shared the story.
And I'm a guy.
Yes.
Yo, I'm a guy. I'm a guy.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yes.
Because it's not just about girls getting harassed, right?
That's right. That's right. That's what I feel like. Depends because it's not about me tonight. But if there's an opportunity and it flows, I may share something that I've observed in my tuition. Because you mentioned tuition, and I realized actually, tuition also needs to be a safe place. Yeah, anywhere young people are found, including church. To be a safe space, right?
Yes, that's right. We cannot hide from it. It is a topic that we should talk about. And I think that's why we are here today, because I believe making school a safe place is not just the teacher's job, it's not just the ministry's job, it is also the students' responsibility. And today, we want to talk about that as well, right? And I'm sure, Pastor, you already give a teaser about you and your tuition story. Later, we'll find a spot for you to share.
Okay.
Yes, but right now, we have a special guest with us.
Oh, yes, very special.
Pastor, why don't you you just introduce
this person.
We went high and low to look for this person, man.
Yes. And she got the memo because she wore the right color, but not you, Kanesh.
Oh.
Yeah, you got to read your messages properly, lah. We got a color code tonight, okay? And also, this person is so special because she's actually a princess.
Wow.
Literally a princess.
Yes.
And she runs this Instagram account called Save the School Mind. Okay.
Save the School Malaysia lah. Save the School Mind.
You have to spell it out. MYY.
Yes,
After people go and spell Malaysia, they found another page pula.
Okay. Yes.
And it's a very important. It just launched on the 27th of April, so very recent.
Okay.
But already there are 250 posts as of last check. And each post is a real story. Of course, we will save it for her to tell us more about it. But tonight, she is the founder. She is also, as we understand, she's the current only person that runs the whole Instagram account. So she's really passionate about this and really hands-on.
Yes.
Tonight, we're going to talk to her about what motivates her, why is she doing what she's doing, and where does she see this going. So everybody, I know it's online, but let's put our hands together and welcome Puteri!
Yay!
Hi everyone.
Hi Puteri.
Hello.
Hey, for those of you tuning in and you're wondering why we call her princess, you guys are from international school. Learn your Malay, guys. Puteri means princess in Bahasa, okay?
Yes.
Yes. Puteri, it's really an honor to have you on board with us.
Thank you for approaching me to be on the talk show tonight. I was really excited and slightly nervous, but we're good.
Good. We are nervous.
Yes,
because
we are more
princess.
nervous than you. Okay.
Yes.
Puteri, maybe share a little bit about yourself, just introducing yourself, what you do on a daily basis. And then we'll go specifically to the Instagram and the course that you're doing, the movement later. But a bit more about yourself so the audience get to know you more.
Okay, cool. I'm Puteri Nuraaina Balkis, so N stands for Nuraaina. I am 26 this year. I'm a Virgo.
Virgo, okay.
I came from a typical Malay household.
Okay.
Both of my parents are government officers. My father works for the prison and my mom works for Ministry of Comms. I attended SK when I was a kid, when I was in primary school, and an all-girls religious school, sekolah menengah agama, throughout my secondary schools, and both of them were all-girls schools. So
okay.
I was a science major and then I switched to language studies. I attended a public university in Terengganu for 4 years. And then currently I am a full-time media executive for a media relations platform. It's an MNC. It caters to the market of Asia Pacific, and I am the key person for Malaysia branch. and
Wow.
Save the Schools Malaysia apparently has accidentally become my side project that I will continue to advocate as long as I'm here, Chair.
Wow, that's good. Such an honor to have you. So yeah, tell us a little bit about Save the School Malaysia, that Instagram page that you started. What made you start it? You know, was it because you're too free, nothing to do? Or I'm sure not, but yeah, you know.
Okay, so I was a student leader for 2 consecutive terms back in my university. So students' welfare and education is a cause that I champion from time to time lah. And then and the thing about me, right? I'm very impulsive. And this is not the first time I started something out of my impulsiveness, you know, like back in October 2020. So the Ministry of Higher Education, they made a U-turn when they decided to reopen campuses. So thousands of students were stranded now. Like for example, let's say students from Sabah, they are stranded in front of their university gates in Johor because the guards won't let them in. So I was angry and I started a Google form to a crowdfund based initiative. So I took their losses to my personal Twitter account at that time and to help them fundraise their fees. So within 48 hours from being angry, I got to fundraise together with a team of 6 at that time to 20,000 ringgit and help 100 students.
Wow.
So this is the second time I was being angry, impulsive, and I started a Google form because I've been following the issues, but and I was just like, you know, like being a Twitter user, just like quote, retweet, amplify, maki, and every now and then. But then what struck me the most on the morning of 27th April, it's when a few teachers, they started a rumor of the girl who played the TikTok, right? The teachers told other teachers from the school within the district that she is autistic. Therefore, her allegations shouldn't be taken seriously. Which is, it's so messed up because number one, if she's autistic, it makes it worse.
Yeah.
Number two, because where's the correlation between being an autistic and cannot carrying the weight of truth, you know?
Yeah.
So that I was like, that's my breaking straw, and I was like, you know what? I can't stay put anymore. So I just like start a Google, Instagram, and I start a Google form from scratch. So initially I was scared a bit lah because I'm scared that people thought that I would ride the hype or the platform will fall short. But then like I quickly tell myself like I'm not doing this for myself. So I'm trying to give the voices to the victims, former and current. So within 48 hours, I got, I think, nearly 50 stories. And the numbers just keep on mounting up. As we speak now, I've platformed 250 stories, but I have more than 400 stories to upload. And the numbers are not stopping at all. So as much as I'm glad that more people are speaking up, it's also messed up to think that more and more cases are coming into the platform, which it makes me ponder lah, like what are we doing with our education system, you know? So yeah.
Great, thanks for sharing. Okay guys, if you're tuning in, what you can see is that on the screen, this is how the Instagram page looks like. All right, save my school, save the school my, right? What you could do is that you can follow. If you don't know how to search it on Instagram, we have also prepared a QR code shown on the screen where you can just scan it and it will lead you directly to the Instagram account. Now here you can see there's about 240 posts that's already ready on Instagram. If you are free and you want to read, you know, you can do that. But above reading, right, we also want to encourage you that you can post your story, all right, under Make School a Safer Place. And also on the screen there is a Google form, an image of the Google form, and that's how you do it. All right, you just fill in your details, share your story. It will go to the back end of Puteri's account, and she will help you publish your story online. That is purely if you want to help raise this awareness and combat against dirty jokes, rape, bullies, and etc. Okay, yeah. Wow. Just looking through at the Insta page, right? Make school a safer place. I just picked out two stories lah, so we can read it now, so that our audience can just have a glimpse of what this is about. Some may have seen it, some may have not have seen it. So I'll read one. Maybe Pastor Andy, you can read the second one.
Okay.
So story number 138. Wow, I don't know, I scroll. Then I just pick out of preference. So it writes here. My private male tuition teacher. Well, speaking about tuition, maybe later you can share your story, Pastor Andy. So my private male tuition teacher would grope me in the ass. Wow, I haven't used that word for so long. But guys, I'm reading. I'm not cursing you. Okay. When I go up to him and ask him questions. He was sitting and I was standing, and I was 10 years old. Now, how many of you watching this, you can sit well with this? I'm sure you can't, right? If you are 10 years old and if you know someone who's 10 years old and going through this is not right. And that's why we have platforms such as this to allow people to express their anger and their frustration. All right, let's look at the next image.
All right.
Yes.
So this is story 171. The prefects were told to spot check between our breasts to see if we were hiding anything there. I thought this was normal as we were all still young and in Form 3. So we didn't know that it was a form of sexual harassment. Yeah, this is really sad because sometimes people in authority use their authority over those that supposedly subordinate to them, and they prey on the young, and the young don't know better, right? They think like, okay, if an older person or an authority figure does it, it must be okay, right? And not only they don't realize till much later that, wait a minute, it's wrong, it's bad, it shouldn't be happening, and it's so rampant lah, right? It's like, the more you empower young people or people just to share these stories, you know that, wow, it's been happening. And I heard from Puteri earlier when we talked to her that the stories can date back all the way to the 80s, so it's not like, last month, everybody just started to do this. It's like it's been going on for some time. And since Kanesh, you asked earlier, I really just remembered this, when we were talking just now. So I had this tuition, and I went to an all-boys school. So primary, secondary, all boys school all the way. Okay, we don't see girls in our school except like teachers lah. And so, sometimes when the girls come and visit our school, right, we all like literally run out of the classroom and stand at the corridor and like look and whistle, right. That itself is like, what's going on? Anyway, so I will go to tuition. I've got a bunch of friends, girls and guys. So maybe about 6 of us. So we'll go to someone's house to have tuition, and we'll sit around the dining table, which is like a round table, round table. And for some reason, the teacher always sits next to me. He always asked me to sit next to him. I didn't know why then. I thought maybe I'm his favorite student.
Guy teacher.
A male teacher.
Wow, Pastor, you attract guys as well, huh? Not bad.
What to do when you're attractive? You're attractive lah. Okay. Even the cats and dogs also come to me.
Okay, sure. Okay.
This teacher very often will put his hand on my thigh.
Okay.
During class while he's teaching, and he will just caress my thigh lah. And I'm thinking, I didn't know what's going on. I knew I was uncomfortable. I asked questions in my head like, hey, is this okay? Like, it's like, what's going on? Now I look back, right? I'm like, oh my gosh, what's going on? That's not okay. It shouldn't happen. If my son is in my shoe and the teacher does that, habis the teacher. And I'm just saying this to say that it happens almost like places you think won't happen, you just never know. And I think more needs to be done.
Yes.
And I guess I was going to ask Puteri, why did she choose to do this? I know it's impulsive, it's anger. I saw a student victimized. It's not fair, and the Puteri in me says I've got to do something. But I wanted to ask, why choose? We all know something needs to be done. All right. And sometimes we look to the government to do something. Like, hey, no, you're the government, you should do something. Or sometimes you look at the teachers. Hey, you're the teacher, you're responsible. But who's really responsible? Who are the ones who can really do something? So maybe you can ask Puteri again, like, what made you choose this platform? Like, as opposed to like, give me an interview on TV, or like, maybe I'll go into the parliament. Why an Instagram page? Why a Google form? Was there a thinking behind it?
Honestly speaking, at the moment, I just feel like there's a lot of enablers on my timeline at that time, where like more people are speaking up, but also more enablers, especially men, are dismissing the victims' voices. So I feel like maybe, just maybe, like the public needs to be served these true stories to actually get the idea that it's not a one-time off trend that they can hop off and advocate or slam the cause. So I was thinking, initially I was thinking like, because I wasn't thinking straight actually when I was setting up the platform. So I was thinking of maybe an interactive Tumblr-ish website where people can go and click to read the stories. And I told a friend, I said like, hey, I feel like starting a page lah, like let people share their stories. And then I was like, yeah, I think Instagram would be great. And I was like, yeah lah, almost everyone has an Instagram now, so might as well just take it there. So all hail Canva. Canva helped me with the designs and all. So the mechanism is quite simple. Like I just transfer the content to Canva, standardize the font and everything, and make sure that the story is readable and all, and they just post it. The hardest part is to read it, because the stories that are being shared, some of them contain very, very explicit details that is imaginable, So when you imagine, it's like, ugh, oh my god, that happened to you. And actually, like whenever I read it, I like all stories makes my Ramadan is the shortest, angriest, less pahala kind of month, because I've been cursing non-stop as I read the stories. Like some victims were as young as 5.
Oh,
and
man.
some stories, like some, when I first started the platform, for some reason it didn't cross my mind that this could happen in primary schools and kindergarten as well. Maybe because the figure who started the movement was a high school kid.
Okay.
So I was like, okay lah, I just like list all forms of schools like SMK, private schools, MRSM, SBP, religious school and whatnot. I didn't list SK/KAFA. KAFA is religion classes for primary schools, or kindergarten. But when I got those stories, safe to say, 40% of the submissions were from victims in their primary schools. Like, which is so messed up to think, because like imagine if some high school kids couldn't fathom of what's going on. Imagine like primary school kids.
Yeah.
But it's happening. I got stories as recent as last week. I got stories dated back in the early 90s, late 80s. And all forms of schools, all form victims from all forms of schools are coming up. Like just now Pastor Andy mentioned that I'm an advocate of an MSK. You don't worry too much, because all schools have this monstrosity, like MRSM, SBP, private schools, Sunday schools even. Like have all these kind of stories, and there's a recurring pattern tau. Like the pattern would be, it's either the predator would hunt for victims who are not as outspoken, and when they got harassed, they will keep it to themselves, or the students were outspoken, but when they tried to speak up, they were dismissed entirely, be it by teachers or counselors or even their parents. So most of the time it's a no further action kind of situation for the victims. So when I started the platform, and I have like people who showed their support. Some of them were specialists in child rights and whatnot. So I told them like, hey, the numbers are keep on mounting up. I'm worried. And then they said, you just need to brace it, Putri, because it's like a dam that is bursting out, like stories just came up. People have been looking for a platform to speak up, and in some of online users at least ask me, like, why do I have to run this? Why don't they take it to the right channel?
Mm.
I'll share a story. Okay, so there's a story from a victim. I don't remember which number, but 2 weeks before SPM, she was stalked and assaulted with a kitchen knife by a schoolmate because of a bet. And this harasser actually attempted rape because he was trying to take off her clothes and everything. And the attack happened in her condo.
Right.
So, and then and then the guard actually caught the harasser and took the police station and whatnot. But when the victim and the mother went to the police station, the case was just dismissed, just like that.
Mm.
Case closed. That's it. Not even, they don't even lodge. There's not even room to lodge a report. There's no even investigation to be open and whatnot. And then when the
Mm.
student went to the school the next day, the headmistress were aware of it. But the headmistress just just ignore it. And the victims got blamed from the boys for the way she dressed and from
Mm.
the girls for being slutty.
Mm.
So
Mm.
it's really messed up to think that I need to start when I start this platform, more and more people are speaking up because they had nowhere else to turn to, not even the right system at the moment. I think for one every 20 stories that I've been uploading, maybe only 1 to 2 cases that actually the victims got empowered by the victims lah, by the teachers or the
Okay.
parents.
Yeah.
The rest of it, some of them open up only after a decade after it happened, and also the parents would either scold them back for not telling them earlier or scolded them because they're making it a big deal. So victim blaming culture is another thing that maybe need another entire session to talk about. But
Yeah.
if you ask me, the reason why I started the platform, because I want to give more voices to for people to speak up, because
Yeah.
they were afraid, and it's time for them to be seen and heard. That's why I started the platform.
Okay.
Right.
Thanks for sharing that.
Thanks for sharing, Putri. All right, I have a follow up question to that, but just slightly before that, for those of you tuning in, you can actually also ask your questions. And on the screen, you can see a Slido link, or I believe on your top left corner of the screen, there's a QR code. Just scan it, it will lead you to a Slido website. Just type it out, hashtag make school a safer place. All right. And it will lead you to a platform where you can ask any questions at all. If you like to remain anonymous, you can do that, or if you like to just put up your name, and that's fine as well. Okay, so we'll get your
Yeah.
question, we will ask Putri, and again, there's no promise to answer, but we'll at least attempt to enlighten what you have asked. Okay, or if you like to make any statement or what that, just write it out and we will read it here. So Putri, I like that you mentioned giving a student a platform for them to voice out, right? So my question is this: how important is the how important is it for people to voice out? What's the power in that? And I guess the next follow-up question is, what's the end goal, right? Like yes, we gather 200 posters, 400 posts. I think now you have 700 in your bank at the back, which are not live yet. There's a lot of power there, but what's the end goal? What can be achieved out of this? And I pray, hope also this will encourage other people to feel that actually, even though my story is small, I can share and I should share, because there's an end goal. So what do you think about that?
Okay. For question number one, why is it important to speak up?
Yes.
It's important to speak up because it is important to make people realize that it is wrong. Because, like, you've read both of the stories, which the victims weren't aware that it is an assault, it is a form of harassment.
Yeah.
So and we're doing this, number one, maybe for the victims, is for them to process it better, because sometimes, like, they swept him under the rug. They thought that it's not a big deal, but then it is. It subconsciously would affect your self-esteem, the way you perceive yourself. I have stories where the victims are disgusted to touch her own body because of the kind of harassment that has happened to her. But ultimately, we need to speak up, not just for us, but for the future generations, because the end goal is not ideally, if we live in a very ideal world when we have a functioning upper force who get their who do things right, then changes can be achieved within 1 or 2 years. But we're in a long game. We need to speak so that this movement is always and always amplified. Um it's not just a one time off trend. We need to speak up because we need to hold the perpetrator, the figure of power in the education institutions accountable to make things right. If for the perpetrator, maybe to realize that it's wrong, or maybe being actioned on according to whatever legal actions that is necessary. But for the schools at large, it's important to make sure that the schools is safe, because students are spending students are spending nearly like their half day in the school, so it's like their second home. So if they can't be safe in a place that supposedly to be a place to nurture themselves, to mold themselves to be a better human being, then what's the purpose of schools in the first place? It's going to be counterproductive. It's just going to be a factory of producing kids who are just churning out, textbooks, facts, and figures, but their souls are not being enriched. Which, in the end, if we don't speak up about this, if we don't address it, we are going to see a very non-functional, not a dysfunctional, very dysfunctional society where you just dismiss everything because it's normal. Or if we don't action on this, whenever, like, maybe let's say you have a sister or a brother who came to you and say like, hey, I got this, you would say, oh, I had that too before and I'm all right. No, it's not all right. It's not all right. We're not carrying, we cannot pass this generation's trauma to the next generation. We cannot do that. It's unfair, it's cruel. Yeah. And that's number one. Number two, what's the end game? Okay. I also don't want to just stuck behind Instagram account. I don't want the platform to just be a platform of short stories, a platform where people just spoke up and they're just ended as numbers. Stories number 244, stories number 33, stories number 74. I don't want that as well. So the end game is, hopefully, there's number one, there's a change at legislation level, which will affect how we're treating schools and the students. Number two, a change in terms of how we are picking our educators, because nowadays there are tests, there are a series of a test lah to actually to recruit your teachers. But then the tests are like fitness tests and the psychometric tests to see if you are fit. This is for public schools lah, yeah. If you are fit with the criteria of a public servant, which is more of like a yes man. So we need to reevaluate this. We need to reevaluate in what are the criteria that we are imposing to recruit our educators, because we are talking about shaping people, shaping the society at large. Number three, it's more like to educate and nurture the current and future generations that what is right and what is wrong. We need a generation that is secure enough in terms of their self-esteem and awareness of what's going on around them. So that's the long game. And for the legislation part, I think I can break it exclusively here, but I am in talking terms with Dato' Azalina Osman Said. She was the champion of a bill for child's right, I think a few years ago. You guys can check out on YouTube Predator in the Phone by RAGE. So Dato' Azalina endorsed it and actually fight for a bill in the parliament. So I'm expecting to meet her virtually post Raya to see what else we can do. at the legislation level, because this cannot end just on the Instagram page, or else my free effort for the past weeks will die in vain. Ain's movements will die in vain. We don't want that. We need to set good precedents for the future generation, because they are looking at us. If we don't do something to improve the status quo, then we're doomed as a society overall.
Yep. Wow. It's a long game, and long game, and just there's still lots of work to do. When you mentioned that just now, actually we had intention to invite a teacher from a government school to be on this conversation as well, and obviously we don't have that person here, mainly because the response is basically they wish they can speak up. They wish they can come on a platform like this and speak up, but they can't. They're civil servants, and he was actually told not to. He was instructed not to say anything or come on the show.
It sucks.
Yep. And I said, oh no, should I maybe change the topic, and make it not so obvious so that you can come on? And it's like, no. No matter what you do, they see me on the show. For some of us, it's livelihood, it's our bread and butter and things like that. But he told me, please carry on. Please speak up. I can't, but you can. And it just makes me imagine how many. Actually, there are many good teachers also, and they want to do something. They want to do something. Sometimes they have to do it vicariously through someone else. But yes, like you said, it's a long game, and I'm hopeful. That in the long run we can do something. Not sure what. I also am reminded, in Australia, because I work with young people here, and so some young people are in a way dependents. They don't drive their own cars, they don't drive their own vehicles. So when they come to our events or church programs, we have to pick them up, send them home and things like that, right? And so it's so normal here, right? But I found out in Australia, it's actually illegal to have a minor in your car without written consent. So like churches over there, when they have programs, unlike here, you can't be alone in the car with a teenager. So in some countries, they actually make it a law. I don't know if we need to get there. I don't know if that's a solution, but there are countries that take things like that much more seriously, and make certain things into a law to protect minors. So yeah, I think there's a lot more we can do as a society. Yes, Ganesh.
Great. Okay, we actually have questions coming in on Slido. I think these are great questions, and probably at this point, I believe could be answered. But let's take a 2 minutes break so that we get some breather space. I get to drink this coffee right here. And okay, so 2 minutes break. We have a video prepared for you. It is True Stories by X-Teens. Enjoy the video. I'll see you guys in the next 2 minutes.
Tormented me with words and actions which made me feel unsafe. My experience started during my secondary years in homeschool with someone I'll name as L. The both of us knew each other from the first homeschool I went to when I first met him. I thought he was sweet, quiet, and oddly sociable. However, he quickly became the biggest nightmare in my school life. I suspect he began disliking me when I tried to make slightly rude jokes through text. Fast forward to the second homeschool. We were reunited with each other again, and this time he grew fonder of bullying me. L was still nice to me once in a while, but I soon realized it was just a facade. He had a tongue for lying and manipulation that made it easier for him to avoid any consequences that should have come his way. He also had ways to threaten me into not speaking up, resulting in him controlling me like a puppet to keep his bad deeds a secret. He tormented me with words and actions which made me feel unsafe, weak, ugly, and undeserving of life back then. Eventually, I decided to come out to two people who initially turned against me in favor of L. I personally investigated his wrongdoings and provided that along with screenshots and videos to them. They decided to help me, and subsequently L was hushed for the last days of school, allowing me that bit of peace before the holidays. It has been close to a year since then, and I am proud to say I am much happier than before, though I am still in the process of healing overall. With that, I've also made amends with L, and we are on good terms now. It wasn't easy to forgive him for what he did to me and how he made me feel. However, through lots of prayer and tears shed, I decided to be the bigger person and let it go. It still hurts to think about this experience, but learning to move on has really helped me overcome it. I'm also thankful for the people who opened up the homeschool that I was in. Not only did they accept me and were kind to me, they also brought me to church where I found community and a relationship with God. Until now, I'm grateful for this because without them, I wouldn't be.
Back.
Back.
Yes.
That
Hope
was a
you
good
guys
video.
enjoyed the video. Yes, that's right.
Yes.
Yes. Some of these things are, Pastor, or
Yeah.
during young, right? They get the chachi kan. What's that in English?
Insulted.
They get insulted. They get bullied.
Yeah.
And sometimes they say yes, they move on, but it scars them for life. So
You know, the words have power lah. Words have
Yes.
power.
Yes.
For those of us who I guess read the Bible, there is a verse in the Bible that says, "Power of life and death is in the tongue." Basically saying that our words have the power to bring life or to bring death to someone. You know, once you're called something. No, I still remember what I was called when I was a young boy, which is just a few years ago, by the way. And it stays with you. It's like a
Yes.
scar.
Yes.
So we really have to be careful what we say.
Yes.
Yeah, we've got some questions, right?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
That's right. So remember, you can ask your questions on Slido. It's on the top left corner of the screen. But we have collected some questions. So let me just ask the first one first.
Yeah.
So Puteri, this is to you. How do we know if it is a harassment or if the person is just being friendly? Yeah. Is there like a benchmark, a gray line, or how do you know? What do you think about that?
Honestly, I think it's the matter of how the recipient react. You know, like for example, but first thing first, like you need to kind of understand a boundary. Like you don't go around and spank people's buttock, for example, or you don't go like all of a sudden, like you touch the chest part, for example. That's like the clear cut no lah. But if you feel like, hey, how are you, and then you touch the shoulder, and maybe you check on your recipients and like, are you close enough with the person for you to do that? Or like just read the room a bit lah. Like if she's okay, it's harassment when the recipient feels offended or threatened lah. And you can't invalidate how she feels because it's the person's body, it's the person's personal space. So I think it's the matter of read the room a bit, and of course like set some clear cut rules for yourself. Like you don't go around and just like hug people from the back unless like if you guys are very very close, for example. Just like but overall maybe just can check with the recipients like, hey, are you okay if I greet you with a hug on your shoulder, or are you okay with this and that? That the communication matters in this sense, because maybe when the recipient is being silent, it could mean that she's uncomfortable. It
Right.
could mean that she feels attacked, So it's just a matter of checking how to gauge back, like what is the proximity of the relationship. Like, are you close enough? Like are you her best friends for life, or are you just a stranger? So of course you have some personal boundaries and common sense that you need to put in place. So that's for me lah. Like personally, I'm okay if people hug me at the first instance because I'm a hugger, you know. But maybe some people, like if I go like, hey, what's up, and then maybe the person will like, oh my god, no, you know.
Okay.
So and it's basically that lah. It's basically reading the room and understand boundaries and communicate.
Great. I think along with that, in terms of education and educating, it's important that we educate young people, children even, to say no, to empower them to say no. Especially in our culture, right? I think Asian culture, like if we say no to an older person or authority figure, it feels wrong. It feels like, oh no, I'm saying no to someone in authority, and it feels wrong. And I think that's not fully healthy lah. But it has to start as children. Like, so I've got a 5.5-year-old now and all that. I have to teach him how to say no and be okay with him saying no even to me, and then learn to reason it out. Like if my son says no to me, I don't just write it off as disrespect. I'm like, I make him explain to me why you say no. Like, keep your toys. No, daddy. Like, okay, why? Rather than, what do you mean no? I'm your daddy. But rather like, hey, why are you saying no? Why aren't you keeping your toys? It's your toys. You messed it up. And I think that may help children as they grow up, the power of saying no. Because if they don't, right, and then even if they feel harassed, they may not know how to say no. I think it's very important for the person to say, hey, you know, I'm not comfortable with this way of touching or this way of greeting. And we have to normalize that, I feel. Otherwise, the person saying no is the one that's awkward. Hey, you're the weird one. Why are you saying no? I think as a society that doesn't help lah. So yes, there's a lot to change, a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
We've got other questions.
Yes. There are a few long questions, but I'll ask a shorter one first.
Okay.
In your opinion, is dirty jokes okay? Is saying dirty jokes and all that? What are your thoughts on that?
That's a short question with a desired elaborated answer. Okay, jokes, man. As a regular attendee of a comedy club, I feel like this is an attack to me as well. But
Okay.
Honestly, when you talk, dirty jokes. As a linguistic major, right, I've learned that you don't simply tell jokes because you want to. There's always an implied meaning behind it. Now, even if you feel like you want to make people laugh, there's also like a hidden intention. So you won't throw jokes for no reasons, you know. But the thing about dirty jokes, so the boundaries about sexual jokes, like the sexuality, how to put this in words? Let me think about it. Okay. When you talk about education institutions or professional settings, it's never appropriate to just throw dirty jokes, you know, because like it's a institution for a noble cause. Is a setting for noble cause. Like for example, when you go to work, it's to make some earning, or if in Islam it's called to cari rezeki, you know, which is a very noble thing to do. And if you go to schools, it's for a very noble cause, which is to enrich yourself with education, with knowledge. It feels, personally, I feel like dirty jokes in professional setting and schools are very off-putting. In fact, it needs to be reduced, because if one person makes a dirty joke and the recipient, let's say, tolerate it, then people around it will observe and say like, oh, she's okay, or it's okay to do this. Worse if it comes from the figure of power, like a teacher, all of a sudden making lewd remarks in front of the class. And it's dangerous because the students are looking up to the teachers. So if we are enabling this in schools, for example, and then what are we reflecting to the students? Are we reflecting that it's okay to, out of nowhere, in an appropriate setting and context, to just throw a dirty joke? You know? But even if in like, take it for example in professional setting, no one would like it if like all of a sudden like you were serious of something else, and then like a person which is maybe you're not that close as well, all of a sudden throw a dirty joke. It would be very off-putting, and moreover, if the joke is targeted, like for example, like let's say there's a staff with maybe some very clear-cut body figure, quite menonjol, yang macam inviting all these remarks, right? And then like it would be worse because that's a direct attack. And imagine if such things taking place in a setting with so many people, and the bystander effect, which are people will just like look around and just like, oh, poor thing, and then they'll just like laugh it off. Because like if we are enabling this in such settings, then we are teaching them that it's okay. Then which, as harmless as some people might say, because a lot of harassers, when the students are speaking up, they would just like, oh, chill lah, I'm just joking.
Right, right.
Yeah, or relax lah, gurau je, janganlah sensitif sangat. She can be sensitive because it's her personal boundaries being invaded.
Yep.
So it roots back to, being polite and self-respect, and also to read the room again. It's a matter of communication. But personally, I also still unlearn to do dirty jokes. I don't do it in the office and whatnot, but when you have like a group of friends for life, sometimes you just, especially you're an adult now, adulting sucks in that sense, kids. Don't do that. But I personally feel that it's not okay if we are letting dirty jokes to continue roaming in schools, tuition centers and whatnot, because these people are growing up. They are still trying to understand what's right and what's wrong. Unless like if you're adult, bukanlah unless, but unlike adults, right, they are fully conscious of what they are doing. Like for example, like if I made a pun with slightly a lewd joke there to my friends, it's because I'm fully conscious and we mutually agree that, okay, this is just a joke. Like if we do it, no one will feel attacked. But we don't do it in public lah, because we are not trying to imply that this is okay. This is just my flaw as a human being. We are all flawed, and flaws can be unlearned, so it's all right. But don't let this, like if it happens in your school, like for example, like, oh my god, look at that chick, yo, and then you don't like that, like call that person out, like, hey, what are you talking? Just be bold, just like, I learned this trick. If someone make a lewd remark to yourself, like for example, like something that say something very nasty, and you just go around and say, what do you mean? Can you explain? Make them explain, and then they will
trap him.
they were. Seriously, that works.
Okay.
So for those who are watching, if some people say to you some nasty thing, you just go to his face, look in the eye. I was like, can you explain? I don't understand. See lah, if he dares to explain or not. If he dares to explain, let me know.
Wow, thanks for sharing. Very powerful insights there. In fact, got tips some more. Very, very nice. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have time for maybe one more question, I think.
Okay, and I think one or two questions can combine to our CPA later. But let me see. Which one would you pick, Pastor?
I think the one that there's one that says, how can children or teenagers spearhead making schools in Malaysia a safer place? That is similar to the other one. How should other students get involved? How can other students support the victim or confront the offender? So I guess we can lump this all up into how can the students themselves make schools a safer place? What can they do? What can students do? They are not the government, they are not the authorities, but they are the ones most of the time recipients, but they also have the power of the grassroots. So what can students do?
What can the students do? Okay.
Yeah.
At the very student level, because we're talking about this is not even to the teachers, okay?
Yep.
But with these students, I can suggest for you guys to, when you see someone being harassed, you don't just walk away from it. Just stand by the victim, regardless of gender, really. Let's say if you're a girl and you see a boy get harassed, I understand this is slightly too idealistic to say, but at least just by shouting, for example, like, hey, what are you doing? Just by that also, it would mean a lot to the victim. That's number one. Just try to call out lah whenever you can within your capacity. If it could harm you back, then what to do, right? Because the thing about perpetrators, they're just talking about power play. They want to feel mighty. They want people to I don't know. I don't understand their school of thoughts as well. But what can you do as a student if the victims are too afraid to speak up, persuade her to open up to the authority, the figure of authority, or maybe like if the victim is too scared, you can ask her like, hey, is it okay if I talk to the teacher? And I won't disclose your name, whatnot, because it's still like you need to seek for consent and whatnot. And then and just consistently stand up lah about it. Like for example, if a victim was being harassed by a teacher, you can just say as like, cikgu ni tak baik lah macam tu. That simple lah, because you're just a student. Maybe you guys are like what, form 2, form 3, like maybe you guys are wondering what can you do. Just by doing that is enough, I would say, because the burden to revolutionize every single thing is not on you guys, students now. It's on adults. It's on the authority of figure of authority. And as how much as you want to change the world, that it's always like one step at a time. And one step at a time is by just calling out, maybe like teacher, cikgu tak baik lah macam tu. Or when you see a peer harassing another peer, hey, you can't do that, it's not nice. Sometimes they don't get it. Why? Maybe because the way they brought up. Maybe for example, like, this boy, for example, maybe so used to watch porn in his father's phone. You would never know. But the least you can do is like to speak up about it. And if you have the energy to be aggressive about it, if you have the security net to be aggressive about it, then by all means. But just by simple gesture like, hey, tak baik lah macam tu. It's not nice to do that. I can't say this in Mandarin and Tamil, I'm sorry, but but you know what I mean, like just but slowly but surely, the victims would appreciate that tremendously, and that would put the perpetrator in check for a while. If he's getting triggered by it, that's another story, but you've done your part.
That's
and
right.
Trust your elderly juga lah. Like maybe sometimes you're scared kan, like, hey, maybe what if my parents are mad at me? What if the teachers are not taking this seriously? But it's always worth a try. If it's not working out, then there's always something else, which is like why this platform is here. If you don't know where else to go, I'm here for you. I'm here. I can help you to connect you to support groups, or maybe legal groups, for example. We can work things out. I'm very responsive in the DMs, so just reach me out, really.
Yep, I can testify to that. Yes. Okay, just very quickly, I know there are many other questions coming in on our Slido. Unfortunately, our program ends at 9:30 today. But here's the thing, right? Your questions will not go in vain. So I will actually share the questions you have asked to Puteri. And perhaps if Puteri, you want to take it up on your Insta post or through a different channel to answer some of these questions, I'll leave it to you. X-Teens will also have your questions, so we could also answer some of your questions through our channel. So please follow us on Instagram on X-Teens. Also follow the Save the School MY on Instagram, right? And just keep yourself updated, and please reach out to us if you need any help or advice. Don't be alone and don't stay alone. But we do have an announcement, so Pastor Andy, I'll pass this to you.
Okay.
Yes.
So basically, we want to end the show. We don't want to just end today's discussion with okay, great information, someone's doing something about it, and then we just close it off. I think it takes anybody and everybody who can do something. Let's do something, okay? No one can do everything, but everyone can do something. That's what I always believe, okay? So let's take some simple steps after tonight, okay? 2 things you can do. Number one, if you are watching and you have a story, okay? Actually, one of the questions on Slido was someone who confessed that they have been harassed before. And then you follow up with the question. So I know someone's watching and they typed that, right? So if you're that person and you have a story to tell, maybe like me, okay, so many years ago, my tuition teacher did something to me that wasn't comfortable. share that story. The world needs to know. You can remain anonymous, but the stories need to be told so that more awareness can be brought to it. We can amplify the issue, and that until the world cannot stay silent and cannot ignore it anymore. So if you want to do that, there is already a platform. Go to Puteri's Instagram account that she started, which is Save the School MY.
Yes.
Okay, that's the Instagram handle. It's on the screen. It should be on the screen. Go there. There's a Google form for you to fill and to share your story. Okay, that's call to action number 1. Share, Save the School My. Go there, share your story if you have a story, or if you know someone who has a story to tell, encourage them to do the same. Okay,
Yes.
Let's give give the voice back to the people.
Yep.
Call to action number 2. Okay, it's kind of like a follow up to the earlier question. What can students do? Right now, use your voice. Use your voice. There's already a hashtag going on, which is hashtag Make School a Safer Place. Let's all use the same hashtag. And we would like to call upon you, young people, to share with us your dream. The first call to action was share your story. The second one is share your dream. How would you like school to be in order that it will be a safe space for you? What would you like school to look like so that it will be a safer place for you? So you can hashtag Make School a Safer Place and then share your dream. You can say something like, a safe school looks like, and then you share your dream. Okay, or you share your wish, or you share your desire to see change. Let's collect enough of this, and then who knows? I don't know. Someone will pick it up. Or we can compile enough of these dreams, and we can one day compile it and share it with the people who are in authority, who is actually interested in doing something. Is that cool? So we'd like to encourage you. Tell your friends about it. Tell everyone you know. Hashtag Make School a Safer Place, and tell us your dream. What does a safe school look like to you? All right.
Can I quickly make a remark?
Yes.
Please.
All right, cool. I just want to thank everyone for listening. To be honest, I still have a long way to go when it comes to advocacy, because I am in no way an activist. I'm just an angry, impulsive lady who happened to start things up. So if there's anything that whatever that I said just now, we feel like it doesn't feel right, just feel free to reach me out and maybe can share your opinions with me. Then I will be more than happy and humbled to take it in. Because at the end of the day, I'm not doing this for myself. I'm doing this for the former and current victims. I'm doing this for future generations and safer schools. Okay,
Great.
that's all.
Wow.
Thank you so
Puteri.
much, Puteri,
Yeah.
for agreeing to do this. We're so honored to have you here with us to share your story, share your cause, share your insights. I think everyone who's joined us tonight have been really, really, really blessed, encouraged, enriched. And let's really hope for, not just hope for, but work for a better Malaysia.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you once again, Puteri, for joining us on Exchange Chat. That's all we have for you today. Remember to really make full use of the hashtag Make School a Safer Place. Share with us your story and share with us your dream on how you would like to have your school be safe. Other than that, I hope you have a good evening and get back to school tomorrow. Okay, guys. That's it for Exchange Chat. Remember that we meet every second and fourth week on Thursdays. Usually it's on Thursdays, but do follow us on social media on Instagram so that you will know what's happening and what's coming right up, and also follow the Instagram account of Save the School MY, and share it with your friends so that everyone, we are all on the same page and we can support this cause together. All right, so I'll see you guys next time on Exchange Chat. Bye.
Bye. Good night.
Bye. Have a great week ahead.